So as we're going through train up, I would have like the imposter syndrome kind of, because so I'm an audiologist. I'm not a medic. This isn't in my wheelhouse as far as things that I'm prepared to do. So I had very much that imposter syndrome of thinking, do I even deserve to be in this place where everybody is doing this train up? They know they already have this skill set that I'm just learning right now. So that was intimidating for me, and that was something that I personally had to overcome. But something that I kept leaning on was thinking about how my soldiers here at Fort Riley believed in me, right? So I had one of my soldiers that I kept thinking about was that before I left, she was saying, "Ma'am, I know I'm not worried about if you're getting the badge. I already know you're coming back with it. It's just a matter of waiting for these 2 weeks until you come back, and I know you're going to have that badge." So that was so important to me, to know that even if I didn't feel like I was believing in myself at that moment, I had my soldiers who did, and that was really meaningful for me. EFMB as a whole is very intimidating. They have a very low pass rate. It's one of the hardest badges to earn. If you're looking even compared to like EIB, the Expert Infantry badge, it has lower pass rates than that, and even Ranger School really too, which is extremely taxing and challenging course to go to. So it's intimidating just thinking that you're going to go in, but you have to have the mentality of, I can do this. Otherwise, you're defeating yourself before you start. And there are many times throughout the course where those thoughts are going to creep into your mind of saying, "Oh, I just can't. It's just not in the cards. I don't have what it takes to be able to do this." But if you can stay positive, if you can lean on the experience of the people around you, or if you can lean on just the encouragement of people from your unit or the soldiers who are also going through the course with you, just don't let yourself get down. It is a challenging course. It's designed to kind of mentally and physically kind of beat you down to the point where you're thinking, "Oh, I can't do this." But it's achievable. I knew from the moment when I went through basic officer leadership course back in 2016, I knew that this was something that I wanted to try for, because it's that elusive badge, right? It's the symbol of excellence, and it means so much to like that when people see that you're wearing that badge, they know that you've accomplished something, right? And I wanted to be able to be a leader who not only was a good audiologist, right? I wanted to set my standard as I'm a good leader in the Army, and not just, on the clinical side. So I knew that badge would symbolize that for anybody that I would encounter down the road in my career. But like you were saying with the importance of it with being a leader here at IACH within the medical company, I wanted to make sure that I didn't let my soldiers down. I wanted to make sure that if I could show them that I was able to go out and do this, then hopefully it would inspire them to do it, because it is an intimidating badge. But I know my soldiers are smart. I know my soldiers have the tenacity to go after this. So hopefully this is just kind of breaking the seal, and now they see that it can be done, and now they're able to go out and do it themselves. One of 3 women who earned the badge, and we saw an unfortunate amount of just amazing women get cut during the PT test. The standard for the sprint drag carry was 2 minutes and 10 seconds. For some of the men, like we had an individual who was in the Air Force who was competing for the badge. He had never executed the sprint drag carry before, so the first time he did it was during the PT test at EFMB, and he was able to do it without any issues. For me, and I had worked closely with First Sergeant Deck, and we had been doing a train up because I knew that was a point of weakness for me, of being able to do that sprint drag carry in 2 minutes and 10 seconds. Because on the new ACFT standards, that's, I believe, above 90 points for women of my age group. So we saw a lot of them, and they were all coming in within, maybe a second or two over. And to be able to miss the opportunity to then go through the lanes just because you missed that sprint drag carry by seconds was that was hard to see. So that was a point, and I came in at 2 minutes and 10 seconds. So I was within 1 second of not even being able to utilize all of the skills that I had learned in the train-up. So I consider myself extremely fortunate to be able to have gotten past that point. But aside from that, I mean, there was nothing that I was seeing out there that I couldn't do the same, if not better, than my male peers. I probably would have cut my own arm off to finish that ruck march. That was because you go through so much through the week of train up and the week of testing, and the last thing, it's not mental at all. All you got to do is physically get through it. So you have 35 pounds on your back, you have your ACH on, you have your weapon that you're holding, and then it's just a matter of one foot in front of the other. You got to do it within 3 hours, so you got to maintain that 15-minute pace. But you have so many people who are cheering you on. I was extremely lucky to have a community. I had 4 audiologists. There's only about 50 audiologists active duty in the Army, and 4 of them happened to be down at Fort Sam when I was going through that EFMB. And I had Lieutenant Zimmerman, who I had never met in person before, but she volunteered to get up at 4 a.m. She came out and she paced me for that 12-mile ruck. But I think that speaks a lot to, just like I said, this is not an individual endeavor. You need the support of the people around you. And I was so fortunate to have that both here at IACH and within the audiology community. I think going into it, everything, you have these preconceived notions to say, okay, no, I feel good about this event, I feel good about this event, but this one's I'm worried about. But it just came down to, every event that I would go to, I would be like, oh, well, I'm worried about this event because this is the one that I'm focusing on now. So it was just, I don't think I've ever been so stressed for that long in my life, because it was, you would expect, the stress to like kind of alleviate a little bit as you're going through the week of testing. But it just, what I came to find was that the stress like mounted, because as the closer you got to the end, the more pressure you felt to say, okay, now I really have to do this because I'm so close. Like you can see it almost at the end of it. So that stress just kind of added, and I don't think until about the last 3 miles of the ruck, when I knew I was good, I could just kind of cruise in at, a comfortable pace for me. I don't think I stopped being stressed until that point. It was fuel, yes. Whatever you can use, whether it's stress, whether it's anxiety, whether it's adrenaline, you're going to use whatever you can to fuel you through the end. Like, I've still been having some dreams of just, like, going over some of those lanes in my mind. I know the night before the ruck march, I had a nightmare that at every mile of the ruck march, we had to stop and do a detailed physical exam on a casualty. So it's just things that kind of bleed into your subconscious, because you are spending, 24/7 where you're just eat, sleep, and drinking EFMB and the tasks that they're asking you to do. But if you can get through those 2 weeks, and if you can just completely dedicate, just know that it's 2 weeks and that's all I have to do, and then at the end of it, I have that badge and then this wealth of experience that I can share with other people, it's all worth it.